Coming up on the 70% Podcast.
So the code word or the code saying, slogan?
The code phrase.
Yes, okay,
the code phrase
for F. Joe Biden
is let's go Brandon.
That child is not an American citizen. Both of you go back home. See you later. Thank you very much.
There are so many people that are going to think that you are totally heartless.
We paid for you to have the baby.
Right.
We made sure that you and the baby are healthy, okay? We gave you our tax dollars to do that. And now you can take you and your happy little baby and carry yourself back across that border.
I feel like there are enough bad apples out there that everybody's got to have one in their family.
We all have people that we don't want to talk about. Right. We all have that uncle that you don't invite to Thanksgiving. And I said freaking that. Oh, damn it. I just said Did I do it again?
I am not the one. Oh, all right. Producer Nate's going to have to cut that out.
The 70% Podcast with your host, Amy Alexander and Mike Sewell.
Welcome to the 70% Podcast, everybody. Glad to see you, hear you, and get your comments. I'm here with Mike Sewell, my co-host.
And you're Amy Alexander.
I am. Yeah, so hopefully you guys caught the show last week. Mike actually had COVID.
Ugh.
So you were under
house arrest.
House arrest. Yeah, whatever we're calling it now.
I was on the bracelet.
Oh,
No, yeah, it was, oh my God. It's 2 weeks, Amy. 2 weeks. So first off, my daughter brings this home to me, you know. And one of the first things that she's ever shared with me, you know, like I'll ask her for her little candy and stuff for Halloween. She won't share that, but she shared COVID, you know, really, really quickly. But so she comes home and then, you know, I'm thinking to myself, so she's sick. She's got COVID. She's got the runny nose and this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, you know, this is not a bad time to get it. At least I'll have it and be done with it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, why don't you lick a spoon and I'll lick, you know?
You did not.
I did. I told her that. I mean, we didn't actually do it, you know, but I told her that. And then a day later, I started getting a runny nose and a sore throat and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh, this is no big deal or whatever.
Careful what you wish for.
Listen, okay? I don't wish it on anybody. I know some people have had it. They've gone through it and it's no big deal. And it's like, oh, it's just a little cold. I felt like I was on my freaking deathbed. Okay, like a week into it, like I couldn't get comfortable. I'm rolling over this, that, and the, anyway. Long story short,
but you could breathe and stuff. You're like,
yeah. So I never got anything in my lungs. Like my lungs didn't fill up with fluid or anything like that. I did do a lot of coughing. But for the most part, I was still able to breathe and stuff. And I did finally go to the doctor, like after, I don't know, probably 10 days of like feeling like this. I'm like, okay, I better go see somebody. So I went to the doctor and she did her little test and the little, what do you call it? The oxygen test and then the breathe in, breathe out, you know, kind of stuff. She's like, wow, you got great lungs. Your lungs are really clear and I'm like, oh, she's like, and your heartbeat. Ooh, wow, okay, that's a nice heartbeat you got there. I'm like, oh, you hitting on me, Doc? What's going on here?
That's what happens when you quit smoking.
I look like death, you know.
Death of the world,
and I got on the same T-shirt I had on for like 2 days, smelling like crap and teeth, you know, feeling like, and she's hitting on me.
Well,
can you imagine?
Yes.
I'm teasing. She wasn't hitting. She was just telling me that I was living.
Yeah, you're alive. Be happy.
Hey, you know.
Shut the F up.
All right, go home. And that's what she told me. She's like, hey, you're good. Go home. What are you doing here? Man? Get out of here. I'm like, all right, I'll go home.
All right.
So then 2 days after that, I started feeling better.
Good. So we're glad that you survived.
Thank God that's over with. I think you had somebody here last week. Who'd you have last week?
Jenny came and visited us last week, and we had a really Soldner. Yes, Jenny Soldner.
Yeah, okay.
She is a smart cookie.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
I like people that I can tell that they think about answers before they blurt them out, or they, you know, they're not just. They've done some research and kind of things like that.
Right.
Plus, she has a psychology background, and that always intrigues me.
Right. Yeah. So. Yeah, she's good people. Well, I'm glad somebody was able to cover for me. Sorry about being gone, guys. I'm here now, and You didn't miss me?
Totally kidding.
Wow.
Anyway.
I bet the listeners missed me.
Okay, so they did.
Yeah.
They did.
You should hear the comments I get about my voice all the time. I really don't, but.
Okay. So, welcome everybody. Amy Alexander and Michael Sewell are going to talk about a few things today that have been pretty forefront in the news. Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah. So I heard that and I'm mind boggled because so here's the deal. I don't watch television at all. Like literally, I just don't watch television. Okay. So I don't have the news on. I don't have the, like the stuff I listen to, are going to be podcast or, just Pinterest, not Pinterest,
YouTube, like videos of like motivational stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Do you listen to Gary Vee a lot?
No.
Okay. Anyway.
No.
Sorry.
Who's that? Is that
I'll introduce you to I'll introduce you to Gary Vee. He's awesome.
Okay. Well, no. So I didn't understand this. Like when I did see a video about this Let's Go Brandon thing, I didn't understand what it was. And then, so I called you up and you're telling me, hey, this is.
Yeah. So Mike calls me and I didn't know either because all of a sudden in my feeds, it was like, let's go. And I see this shirt, this woman like from some, it's an ad and it's a Let's Go Brandon shirt with like American flag on it.
Right.
And I'm like, what the heck? Uh-huh. And so I Googled it, like what anybody does when they need information. And come to find out, it's so funny. It started at a NASCAR race.
Okay.
I can't even remember the racer's name except for his first name is Brandon. And in the background, somebody was interviewing him. He must have won, or I don't know even if he won or whatever. But for whatever reason, this news journalist, whatever, is standing in front of him with a microphone, and there's about 140 people in the back, or 40,000 people in the background. Like the entire stadium is saying F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden.
Okay.
And she's like, look, they're chanting for you or cheering for you. Let's go, Brandon. And that's how that started. It was like her, I don't know if she...
Her interpretation.
Either her interpretation or she was trying to cover up.
She was trying to cover up.
She was covering her butt, I think.
Right.
Or somebody. Anyway, so then that just became the thing now.
Okay, so the code word or the code saying, slogan?
The code phrase.
Phrase?
Yes,
okay,
the code phrase
for F Joe Biden
is Let's Go Brandon.
Okay, so Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
So here's the thing. My question is, okay, why are throughout every stadium now, okay, you're hearing this, football, basketball, NASCAR, you're hearing people do this now in every stadium across this country, okay? Why? Why does so many people feel that way? 81 million
people vote for a guy and then turn on him so quick?
Right.
Or maybe he really didn't have that many voters, but who knows?
So let's say he did have that many voters. Mm-hmm. That's even worse.
His approval ratings it's
at 27% right now. You have that many people turn on you that quickly. You're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. You're doing something drastically wrong.
Ratings are down. His approval ratings are down 27% in as far as the economy is concerned. Overall, in all the categories, I think he's down to like 42 overall average, which is still awful.
Right.
Awful. Less than half of the country
disapproves
of
approves of. Less than half of the
less than half of the country approves of the guy that they supposedly voted for, because more than half the country
supposedly voted for. But still, even if, let's just say that was real. Mm-hmm. Let's say he really got all of those votes. But now he has all of these same people that voted for him, quote unquote, saying, let's go, Brandon.
Right.
So what's he doing wrong that the American people decided, this is not good.
What's happened since January 20th or whatever day that he got inaugurated? So, gas prices, fuel prices are up. We've got way more tacked on to our national debt now.
We left people behind.
We left people behind in Afghanistan, even though he promised they wouldn't, and they're lying about the numbers.
Yep.
Oh, there's less than 100. Well, then
Here's the thing. I don't care if it's one. I don't care if it's one American soldier or one American person or one American person with a visa or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. We don't leave our people behind.
Right.
Okay. And fill up a freaking plane full of refugees and get them over here. So we got 2 or 3 plane loads of refugees and people falling from the freaking sky, and we're bringing them over here, but we're leaving our people behind.
Right.
Our people.
And they're lying to us about what at one point there were less than 100 people still in Afghanistan, but now there's 525. But you shipping them back?
Right.
Like, you either they're going the wrong way or you lied about the numbers to begin with.
And they lied about the numbers to begin with.
They lie about everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
So you have all the people in Afghanistan or that were left in Afghanistan, and we're doing nothing to get them out of there.
I'm not sure what we're doing to get them out of there right now. I feel like they also left a lot of our ammunition and military equipment behind, which, from what I understand, there's ways to decommission it or whatever the word is in the military so that it's not usable. I have a few military friends that kind of explain to me how, like, don't be so freaked out because there are things that can be done when you leave military equipment behind to make sure it's not usable for the other guy.
Right.
But all in all, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
And, people are, you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, seriously, 20 years and $1 trillion later, and we end up just handing the country back to the people we were fighting this whole time.
Yeah.
It was like,
so we lost years, money, bodies to a war.
And then Joe Biden got into office and he threw the surrender flag and left all of our equipment behind.
Okay, so there's that. There's Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
We have the border. We have the border crisis.
Right. I think a lot of people that were objecting to the border building the wall before, because building the wall, it's very controversial, off-putting, things like that. So after he took, days after he took office, he reversed that spending on the wall or whatever. It basically stopped. And that was also kind of a point in time when they were like, defund the police and ICE should be abolished. And they were listening to a lot of the uber liberal protesters and Black Lives Matter, that the wing of Black Lives Matter that doesn't care about actual Black lives, but are just trying to make sure that they get their force through. They are now realizing how much it's affecting us.
I think that a lot of people are seeing that we need tough border laws. We need to do something different at the border. We have, over close to 2 million immigrants in the last year and a half coming across.
1.7 million immigrants came over the border in
the last year and a half. Mm-hmm. Right. And they're dispersed throughout the United States.
Well, some of them are sent back. So supposedly, if you have a criminal record, or you've been here before and you have a criminal record, or you have a criminal, I don't know who's keeping track of that, but we can't even find people to sling fries at McDonald's for F's sake. So I can't imagine that there are extra people down there willing to battle this border crisis.
But they're giving them the people that they are allowing to come into the country. They're giving them health care. They're giving them jobs. They're giving them money to get on their feet, to get started and things like that.
Well, I don't know if they're giving them jobs. I mean, everybody else is
They're shipping them to different areas of the country.
They are.
You
a
know,
lot of the
giving them housing.
Yep. A lot of Christian foundations and those type of thing, they're taking them in.
We have 75,000 people in San Francisco right now, American people in San Francisco living in tents on the street, starving. Mm-hmm. And we're giving money to people from God knows where.
Right. And I don't know the number. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to claim that they are getting like a check. I don't know that situation. We'd have to talk to somebody that.
Let's write that down as an action item. So next week when we sit down and talk, we have numbers on that. So we want to know what we're looking to do is get hard numbers on how much money the taxpayers are paying to bring the immigrants to move the immigrants throughout the United States, and what their housing costs are, and what subsidies or monies that we're giving them.
Because they're not living. See, and this is exactly how the government created Los Angeles, Harlem, all these, what we used to call ghetto cities.
Okay.
So my guess, and this is just a guess, but I'm guessing that they're creating buildings, they're creating communities, they're putting these people in a community where they can all hang out together, and subsidizing their food, water, shelter until they get on their own, but then there's that cycle and that system that keeps them from becoming anything other. Do you know what I mean?
No. Explain further. I think I understand where you're headed, but I want to make sure.
So
you're saying that the black community.
It's the same old way that they did. Okay, so we're going to free the slaves. Well, they need to go somewhere. Well, let's build them some cheap housing over there. They'll all live there. They'll all be happy with each other. But then they just throw a few bucks at them and assume everybody's going to be happy, and don't give them the same privileges of education and other things that other communities have. Mm-hmm. And then they just start in that cycle.
And then continue to prey on them for their vote.
Yes.
So that they can stay in office.
Yes.
And stuff like that.
We are seeing happen. We're seeing
it happen live.
We're seeing it happen live.
In our time, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And
I don't know, because we need to find out where these people are going.
But true.
So where are they sending them? You know what I mean? What neighborhoods are they going? Are they sending the refugees to? So let's write that down as an action item also.
So what? Where are you assuming they're getting sent, and where do you think they should be sent?
I think they should be sent back home. I think they should be sent the hell out of the United States. Mm-hmm. Listen, you don't get to walk across the border and circumvent our laws But you do, because people are training them with the loopholes. If you're a minor and you are in the United States, you get to stay. And eventually, guess what? You're separated from your family. And now you get $500,000 too. That's a whole nother book. But hear me out real quick, okay? So let's say hypothetically, let's talk about the what was it, the big buzzword back in the day, the kids that were
the dreamers.
The dreamers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The dreamers. Okay.
You said that. Yeah. Kids.
So,
okay. Got it.
Right. Yeah. So let's say that these dreamers. Okay. So these people came here, 10 years ago. And they had children, and now these children are 10, 15, 20 years old, or whatever the case may be. Those kids have never been to their country. They have no idea who their people are, in that country. Okay, I'm all for giving them a right of way to get to citizenship. Okay, for the people that have already been here.
Right.
Okay? But I'm saying, as of right now, as of today, you come across that border. What's today? October what? November 2nd.
Happy birthday to my brother, by the way.
Hey, happy birthday.
Anyway.
Amy's brother? Yeah. Okay, so November 2nd, 2021, you come across that border, you get sent back home. Period. I don't care where you're from.
Right, that's called closing the borders.
Yeah,
if the borders are closed, you don't get past the border and you have to go back.
And that's what we need to do.
But that's what we're not doing.
we need to eat, and we need to put that back to last year and the year before that. 2018, as far as I'm concerned, this is just my opinion. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you came into this country illegally, you need to be deported. You need to get out of this country. Period. Okay, you do not get and even if you're not deported, we don't give you our tax dollars. We're not going to support you.
No, we can't even support our senior citizens. If you end up in the hospital,
if you're pregnant and you end up in the hospital and you're having a baby, okay, yeah, you're going to have that baby, and then we're going to take you and the baby, and we're going to put you on a plane, and we're going to send you back where you came from. You and your baby. You don't get to claim citizenship with your baby because you had a baby in the United States. You get to take your baby back across the border, wherever the heck you came from, and that's where you deserve to be.
Well, then
until you come across here legally.
Then we need to redefine the term natural born citizen, or not redefine that term.
Natural born citizen is a citizen of a citizen who was born here.
Yeah. So
I'm an American citizen, and the young lady that I'm dating or seeing or married to or whatever is an American citizen, and we have a child, we have an American citizen child.
Right.
If you come from Honduras or Mexico or Haiti, and you come here to America, you don't have, and you have a baby, you just pop out a baby, it's not an American citizen. You're not an American citizen. That child is not an American citizen. Both of you go back home. See you later. Thank you very much.
There are so many people that are going to think that you are totally heartless.
We paid for you to have the baby.
Right.
We made sure that you and the baby are healthy. Okay. We gave you our tax dollars to do that. And now you can take you and your happy little baby and carry yourself back across that border.
But they're going to claim some sort of refugee status or... How do you distinguish between the people that say that they're, because like persecution, religious persecution or whatever? At
this point, it's so messy. We need to just shut the whole system down.
The whole system?
The whole immigration system needs to just be shut down.
We can't shut down the whole system, Mike. The immigration system.
I'm not ridiculous now.
Yeah. Okay.
But the whole immigration system, we need to just shut it down right now and clean it up, and then we can start all over again.
Well, and that's never going to happen because they're looking at it like, oh, we'll just keep letting them in, and then at some point we'll grant them amnesty, and that's what amnesty is for. Like if you're in the United States right now and you're illegal, but you've been here for X amount of time, then we're just automatically going to grant you citizenship. That's what amnesty is all about. And then they want to start over. But the problem is they never close the border in order. I mean, there's never anybody there. We don't have a point of reference to say, okay, amnesty starts now for everybody that's in here.
Right.
Because they don't close. You have to close the border in order to do that. Right. And they give out visas like they're freaking.
Well, and then the $450,000, so $500,000. Let's just call it.
Not everybody might know about that.
Call it $500,000.
Okay.
Well, what they're doing are people that were separated at the border, or families that were separated at the border last year or the year before last because they came here illegally. Mm-hmm. They're saying that we should pay them reparations in the amount of $450,000. So per person is what they're saying. So some lawmakers are calling for $3.5 million or something like that for the family, and then others are saying,
because they were separated because they came here illegally,
right?
Got separated at the border,
right? Because
they decided to come into our effed up immigration system,
right?
Thinking they were going to be taken care of, and now somebody's got the idea that we're just going to pay them off.
Correct.
Right.
That we should pay them because of the separation at the border.
How do you feel about that, Mike?
That we should pay them $450,000. First off, these are illegal aliens who came into the country illegally. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. When you do something that's illegal, there are consequences.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's an unfortunate consequence that they got separated.
Yes.
So they illegally came into the country. They unfortunately got separated. And now taxpayers are supposed to foot the bill because they did something
because they were
illegal.
so inconvenienced.
Right, because they did something illegal.
But again, we have 75,000 homeless people in San Francisco,
you have how many foundational Black Americans who are still waiting
for their
reparations.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Mike. Do you think our government is doing this on purpose in order to get you guys riled up and say, oh, whoa.
When you say you guys, you're talking about Black people, the Black community?
The Black community. Okay. Yeah, the people that are for reparations.
Right, okay.
Okay, so now that you see that, because you're for reparations.
Yeah.
For the foundational Black community.
Right.
What do you see? You see this as a slap in the face?
Absolutely. So absolutely. It's a slap in the face.
Does it make you mad at your government, or does it make you mad at the people that are allowing this to happen and still not okay with you getting reparations?
Okay. So I'm hoping that that's not the case.
Okay.
Because I don't know anyone who doesn't want foundational Black Americans to have reparations that does want immigrants, illegal immigrants to have reparations. Okay.
Right.
However, nevertheless, we're taking care of people who came here illegally before we even take care of our American citizens. Mm-hmm. And it's disgusting.
Right. But we're going to go and tax big corporate America because they're going to save the world somehow, when the top 20 billionaires couldn't even cover a percentage of our national debt. But we're just going to keep spending and spending and spending. And they're going to spend money on the illegal aliens, immigrants. And of course they're from 2018. Nothing said about the ones from 2020, but the ones
not yet. We'll take care of the ones from 2020 next year.
Right. The ones from 2018 because they were under Trump's watch. So those are the most disadvantaged. And so now so
let's blame it on Trump, right?
Yeah.
Let's go, Brendan.
I don't think there is a reasonable solution to this without closing our border.
No, and I think that's where we need to start. We need
and
to
even
shut the
that,
system
I mean,
down.
if you're a citizen, you come in, you get a visa, you come in, but otherwise you shut it down.
If you are
and we were on our way to that with that wall. I mean, you can't build a wall, really.
If you're not an American citizen, here's the whole thing about the wall. He should have never said, hey, we're going to build the wall and Mexico is going to pay for it. He should have just said, hey, we're going to build the freaking wall.
Right.
Done. Okay. I think he pissed off a lot of people when he said Mexico was going to pay for it, and then he didn't pull through with the whole Mexico paying for it
right.
thing. Or he should have figured out a way.
Well, the Mexican cartels were supposed to be shut down once the border was completed, and we were going to be able to arrest these people, and they weren't going to be able to go back, and then we could confiscate their wealth, and that would be what would pay that off. But that didn't happen because we never shut down our border, so they're still running freely back and forth.
Yeah, well, they're running freely back and forth under the border, over the border, through the border. They have a lot of tunnels and stuff like that.
Oh,
too,
I know. That border needs to be like 25 feet down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got that going on. Afghanistan, fuel prices. What do you think about the Build Back Better plan?
You're going to hate me for this.
Okay. I don't hate many people, by the way, so. And I'm not going to kick your ass in the park.
I think if you and this is going to be conspiracy theory kind of crap here. Oh, there's a pen and paper over there. Give me a second. I'm going to grab that pen and paper. I'm going to show you something.
Okay. Well, to the listeners out there on our audio podcast, we are watching Mike walk to the notebook.
And now he's back.
I don't think I'd ever be a very good, I don't think I'd ever
narrator.
be a good euchre or a, baseball sports commentator person. Anyway, all right. So you're drawing me a picture. Are you serious?
Every time I hear Build Back Better, that's what I think about.
The KKK.
I think that I think that they're freaking playing games now. But that's what I think about. Build Back Better.
So when you do, because when you do KKK and then you put the line on the top and line on the bottom, you have
you have bees.
You have a bunch of bees. So not bees, buzzing bees, but bees, the
Yeah.
alphabet B.
Right, the alphabet B. But and that's just me, okay? This is my brain going crazy.
Okay.
You know.
So
but every time I see Build Back Better, I think of KKK. It's just the way it's presented. This Build Back Better. What have you built back better? What?
They're not going to build anything back better.
Nothing.
Well,
nothing at all.
They've got everybody convinced that global warming and climate change is going to destroy the earth.
Okay. And I'm not convinced that that's not going to happen.
Well, here's my thing. You're looking at an entire planet in a solar system, in a universe that, do you really think as people we can control anything?
There is some, in my opinion, there are some things that we can and should control. Okay, so you have the natural resources that we use, the oil and stuff like that. So the more we're pulling that stuff out of the ground, the more we're drilling, fracking and stuff like that, the more we're making the platelets unstable, things like this. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we're doing that's affecting the earth. Okay.
Right.
And if we stop doing those things, it won't affect the earth as much.
Okay.
We can slow down the progress of what we're doing. So when we learned that that fracking was destroying the platelets, right, and making the platelets shift, okay, we should have stopped fracking. But we didn't stop fracking because it was so lucrative. Okay, because now it gave us energy independence. Right, but when you're drilling down, now you're drilling across and then you're fracking, and then the oil is coming up that way. But you're replacing that with water, so it's you're not replacing supposed it with you're supposedly replacing it with water and sand. So that's where the sand is coming from. Also, that's why they need a lot of sand in the fracking fields and stuff like that, in order to replace that. But it's still not helping. It's not doing the job. Okay. So long story short, do we need independence? Yeah, but we can get that without having to frack. We don't have to frack. Okay. How are we going to get that? The same way we've been doing it for many years in the oil fields in Texas. You drill straight down, you tap into the vein, and then you drill. But then you shut down all the pipelines, and then you don't have any choice but to get your oil from overseas. Well, yeah, you don't shut down the pipelines. I mean, we have to have our independence. But here's the thing: also, instead of shutting down, like now we have the Elon Musk and stuff like that who are coming out with these electric cars and stuff. And so, but we could have had that many years ago. We had the oil companies. Anytime somebody came out with a decent electric car, would buy that person out, or put them in a position where they run them out of business. And if they didn't sell the company, they would destroy that company some kind of way, because the oil companies were making so much money. Are you sure that's fact? Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So if you want me to, I can start. I can dig some of that information out. But anyway, Elon Musk, because he has the money to back him, just decided that he wasn't good, because the government wasn't going to help with the electric cars. Right. Apparently, or not. They are, but they are. Where's the power coming from? Where does power from electricity come from? Are we going to do hydro? Are we going to do solar? Okay, so now we're saying, okay, let's find the energy source for electricity. So there's a lot of different ways to get energy source. So the waves, we can get energy source from the waves, from the ocean, the natural current of the ocean. Okay, we can get energy source from solar. Okay, we can get energy source from wind. So there's a lot of ways to harness energy without hurting the earth. So those things don't hurt the earth at all. So harnessing the ocean doesn't create any sort of disturbance within the ecosystem of the ocean. Yeah. I'm not sure.
The only thing I can think that would be the sun, because the sun comes down.
Solar.
But
Yep.
if you're creating, what does the Earth's temperature go down if you start capturing all of your solar into putting them into cars instead of putting?
Is that really a thing? Do you
I don't know. I'm the person. I'm the devil's advocate. I'm the one throwing okay, that's a nice theory, but what about this?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think we got so dependent on oil, and the oil companies were making so much money that they were not allowing anything new and innovative to come, and the politicians were making so much money from the oil.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's one of the reasons, in my opinion, that we ended up in Iraq in the first place. You know, was because of the oil. You know.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother
right.
conspiracy theory.
And
Sorry.
I don't know. I'm not privy enough to all that information to really form an opinion. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, you like to.
we're talking about 9/11. You know.
Yeah.
We went to war in Iraq when apparently it was Osama in Afghanistan who bombed us. You know.
Right, but he was. I don't even know he was supposed to go.
Right.
The war on terror. So speaking of, we had the war on terror, which we're still in the middle of apparently, but now the terrorists aren't from overseas. They are in our school system. They're at our town halls. They're at our parent-teacher conferences.
What do you
The domestic terrorists.
Oh, so we're branding American people, American mothers and fathers, as domestic terrorists because they're concerned about critical race theory being
Right.
taught in schools.
Right.
They're concerned about the sexuality
Yes.
being taught in schools,
And you
or the
agree
way it's
that
being taught in
CRT
schools.
should be taught in schools.
You know, here's the thing. Since we've done that podcast, you know, about the CRT, critical race theory and stuff like that, I've done some more digging and looking into the way it's being taught, and now I understand what people are
Why they're concerned.
why they're concerned, because the way it's being taught is that white people are and have been the aggressors, and even today, and people of color are at a disadvantage no matter what they do or how they do it.
Right.
And I disagree with that theory. Now, do I still think that our history in America should be taught? Absolutely. It should be taught in schools.
You can't cover up all because there are
This
instances.
should happen. Here's the thing. Now, if we dug back into the history of Africa, we'll see that this tribe here slaughtered this tribe here and took these people as slaves into that tribe and then sold these people. So now these people are evil because they sold these. So we can go back that far, which is ridiculous. We're not going to do that because we're talking about American history. However, people in those times did some nasty things. And it's okay because it's not okay that they did it. It's okay that that's our history.
Right. And that's the thing.
And it doesn't make you, white person today,
right.
a bad person because of something that, even if it was your ancestors. I know you say your ancestors are from wherever. And
I'm
blah, blah, blah,
Scandinavian. Scandinavian,
whatever.
Norwegian.
Let's just say it was your ancestors. Let's say your great-great-great-grandfather was a slave owner. You know, does that make you a slave owner? Does that make you a bad person?
No. I don't even know
It
anything
doesn't.
about. And how
Here's
do I
the
know
thing.
my family didn't ostracize them and say, put them in jail or whatever. So
Right.
I feel like there are enough bad apples out there that everybody's got to have one in their family.
We all have people that we don't want to talk about. Right. We all have that uncle that you don't invite to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't know. But what else did you do in the last 2 weeks?
What do you mean?
You just told me at the restaurant you quit smoking.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. I was really only smoking like 5 cigarettes a day.
But that's still
However, but
I'm not a smoker. I only smoke 5 cigarettes.
I was smoking like 5 cigarettes. Amy, that's coming from smoking, 25 cigarettes a day.
Right. So
I started smoking when I was
I'm not
11
judging. I
years
smoked
old.
for a long time, but
When I was 11 years old, hanging out in Brooklyn, I started smoking cigarettes, Winchesters. Yeah.
Yikes.
I know. Those are the little cigars.
yeah.
Little cigarettes. Yeah. So anyway, And
So some of that congestion is coming from him. He's not sick and spraying his diseases all over us. He's just
my lungs
anybody
are starting to heal.
that has quit smoking knows that there's going to be a while where you are coughing up some stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but I have no nicotine, so I was taking the mints.
And that's
like
awesome.
The nicotine mints.
Kudos to you, Mike.
I have no nicotine in my system at all. I am clean.
And you feel great.
I feel freaking fabulous. And I said freaking. Oh, damn it. I just said Did I do it again?
I am not the one. Oh, all right. Producer Nate's going to have to cut that out. I have so many roles.
Too many shows, man.
I know.
It's all Amy all the time.
Oh, my gosh.
All Amy all the time.
I should just get my own station.
That should be the show. All Amy all the time.
Hey, I thought the perfect podcast name would have been Amy's World, and we just live in it.
My part. Oh my God.
I have lived in a lot of different areas of the United States, and I have never, I've never led with my blackness. No matter where I go, I don't lead with the fact that I'm black, and 9 times out of 10, I don't even think about it until someone brings it up, So there are some places I'll go way up north, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?"
You go in that lodge, and they're like,
"I got a black cousin, friend's uncle," and I'm like, "Oh,
right.
okay."
I knew a black guy once. You and I are brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
And I get it. They're not trying to be racist. And some people would even be like, "Oh, look at these racist people. They got to bring up the." No, what they're trying to say is, "Hey, look, you're okay with us. You're okay with us. We're going to take care of you. We're not going to be nasty to you." Is what they're trying to say. Whereas other people would think, "Oh my God, here you go, bringing up the race thing again." You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But so for me, no, I never lead with my blackness. I don't know. I don't feel when I walk into a room, no matter who's in that room.
Do you think that's the heart of where everyone's?
And I think that's where America is. I think that's why when Amy and I sat down and started talking about doing this show, I'm like, yeah. Because I truly believe that the heart of America feels that way.
Is just having conversations and hoping the best for people.
We don't lead with our ethnicity or gender or whatever. I don't think people walk into a room and lead with that.
Yeah, I've never even applied for like a small business loan just because it's for women, or I haven't.
Oh no, I get my free money. No, right. I get my free. No.
See, this is where he. Good Lord.
I'm not even joking about that. When I owned the cleaning company, I applied for grants and stuff like that to help my company grow.
Right.
And, buy equipment and build the company and stuff like that. And there were grants and stuff out there for disadvantaged, black-owned businesses. Mm-hmm. So I took advantage of it. Yeah, I'm not going to not take advantage of the money that's sitting out there to take. That's ridiculous.
I just don't like paperwork that much.
Oh,
just kidding.
At least you're honest.
But that's why I got out of accounting.
But I employed people also.
Right.
So I had 12 employees, and I paid them, decent wage, even back then at that time. It was 2006, 2007. I was paying people close to $15 an hour, even at that time. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But I was able to command that because of the service that we gave people.
Right.
So it, long story short, I got the free money. I'm sorry.
That was not a short story. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I have a tendency to do that.
Actually, I have a theory about, and I've had this theory in my head for a very long time. I think I might have expressed it in social media at one point. But my theory is that society is made of 2 different people. We have the Carnegies and we have the Coveys. The Carnegies want to win friends and influence people to get what they want.
Read
the book. And the Coveys are willing to make themselves better to get what they want.
Mm-hmm. Okay, say that one more time. You have the Carnegies.
The Carnegies.
Okay. And
how to win
why
friends.
Why are we calling them Carnegies?
Because Dale Carnegie wrote a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay. So you have the Carnegies.
Yeah, Franklin Covey wrote a book, 7 Habits to Highly Effective People.
Okay.
Or yeah,
Stephen,
Yep.
yeah.
or Stephen Covey, Franklin Covey. He's a different guy. But and I remember when I was married, my ex-husband went through the Carnegie training on how to win friends and influence people, and it was all about making them believe you are a certain person to acclimate to them.
Interesting.
Whereas the Covey, I don't want to say the
Covey framework.
Yes, it's not a cult or anything. The Covey framework is
The idea
of there are 7 habits you can change about yourself to get what you want. You don't have to convince other people to give it to you. And I really and truly think that our society is split into those 2 categories, and pretty much those 2 categories alone are what divides us from having the socialist tendencies that we're leaning towards and the independent, free labor, capitalistic tendencies we're trying to keep. Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I like it. Yep.
Do you think that's why they're bringing so many immigrants in here? Because they have no choice but to depend on the government, because that's what they get the minute they walk in the door?
Yeah, when you said that earlier, I was thinking about that. Like, okay, well, but I think that's something that we need to prove out before we start spouting out.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, when you look at the numbers,
And that's what
Everything that we talked about today is factual. You know, we have the people at the border coming in the border is factual. Giving them the $450,000 that's in the bill, that's factual. You know, so everything that we talked about is factual, and I just think that, you know, with the audience that we have, we should probably continue to have that trend where we're talking about what's out
That
there.
was just a theory.
I mean, we got what we believe and what we think and how we feel, you know, but we always say this is my opinion.
But just like the scientific community, how you interpret and analyze that
You say
data
everything
is
starts with a theory.
always going to be
until it's proven or not proven.
it's always going to. There's no scientific community, so to speak. I mean, you want to talk about blood sport, go to a conference with scientists.
Right. Oh,
over
exactly.
2 + 2 = 4. I mean, they're damn near punching each other out, you know.
Well, I've seen the Big Bang Theory many times.
I'm giving you guys an out here, because don't get me wrong.
No.
Somebody says PhD scientist. Yeah,
right. Well, and that's the thing. We have so many people aren't even telling us the truth. We know for a fact that we are not being told the truth all the time.
No,
of course.
No,
we know that for a fact.
So why are we eating up anything?
Right.
Why would you believe anything the government has to do?
If they're lying about this, why wouldn't they lie about the other?
Right.
It's because it's convenient for you to believe what that truth is. You know, like that, I think I posted that meme that is like a whole line full of people that want to go to the Convenient Lies movie at the theater, and then their unconventional or uncomfortable truths is the other line or the other movie playing in the theater, and there's not one single person there buying a ticket. I
would have been in that
line. You would have or wouldn't have?
Would have.
Would have. Yeah, I probably.
I just don't like being spoon fed. I don't. I want to know. I'll listen to your opinion, and this is from friends and family and government and anybody. I'll listen to your opinion, and then I'll weigh that opinion against, you know, what I know to be true, or what I research, or what I look up. You know, depending on how important it is to me to look it up, you know, and then I'll go from there. So let's just take this. I guess we can't talk about that without getting shut down.
Oh, yeah.
Keep talking and then I'll edit.
Well, the problem is that the Governmental Accounting Board or the GA or accounting office and the people that are supposed to be regulating the regulators are in on it.
Sure.
Pretty much. I mean, you can't tell me our attorney general doesn't know anything that's going on. He hasn't prosecuted a freaking person since, well, unless they're on Trump's team. When our journalists aren't journaling anything but what they want to say or what their talking heads above them say. I mean,
of course.
You know, the media.
They're not investigative journalists.
No.
They're entertainers.
They don't care as long as they are promoting the agenda of their buddies that are sending them on exotic trips. And I mean, we've all done it as salespeople. Oh, hey, you're going to send me, you have better Christmas parties, so I'm going to make sure I'm still your customer so that I get invited every year. Things like that. I've been in sales a gazillion years, and that I've seen it happen.
You understand the game.
I've seen it happen. And that's exactly what's going on, because it's all about power and money now. And the media people have gotten in bed with the political people on the Democratic side, like late 60s and 70s, I think, when academia was really starting, like Saul Alinsky was starting to catch on, and it was all about the haves and have-nots. They were the have-nots and were trying to be the haves. Well, now they're the haves, and they're not giving that up because they worked for 60 years to get there.
There are a lot of parents that are waking up to the school system and how the system is churning out liberals. You know, they're brainwashing our kids to be liberals, and there's a lot of parents that are waking up to that, but they're being called domestic terrorists now.
Right, but we let that happen as parents.
How do you classify a parent at a parent-teacher conference a domestic terrorist because they're talking or because they're standing up for their kids and their kids'
because
rights?
they don't agree with the education.
That's not a domestic terrorist. That's not the definition of a domestic terrorist.
Because we're
You
letting
classifying them a domestic terrorist is domestic terrorism.
Right. Oh, I agree. But we're letting them get away with it. We've been letting them get away with it. We spent the technology age with our faces in our phones instead of making sure our kids were learning the right things. I blame it on our generation. I totally do. Well, our parents, what were our parents? The baby boomers. I mean, they kind of started, they wanted more and they wanted better for their kids. And I get that. And I'd want the same thing. But then we carried that tradition on. And not only did we just give the kids everything that we could so that it would be easy on them, but we also didn't pay as much attention as we should have been because our faces were in these new phones and the internet and everything else. And we just let
access to information.
And so we let that presence of the education system, the federal, local, state education system, basically take over.
Right.
Whether we trusted them or not, that's what we did because it was easy.
Parent-teacher conferences, remember when we're all the same age, when we were younger, my parents would always side, I don't know about you guys, always side with the teacher. Always. Authority figure said, hey, why aren't you doing your homework? That's what the teacher was talking about. Now parents are going and saying, why is my 7-year-old coming home and saying, Mommy, why am I evil?
Oh, and not only evil, but learning the learning about the sex and stuff like that in the classroom.
Absolutely.
The books and stuff that they're reading in the classrooms are absolutely ridiculous.
And teachers having the balls to say to you, Michael, it's not up to you. We're the experts. Trust us.
Yeah.
Right, but we spent so much time not worried about it that now that we are finally getting a clue and coming out of the woodwork, it looks even scarier than it would have. I mean, we would have. Right.
Well, and then the 15-year-olds in Oregon being able to have a full sex change, and the state pays for it, and the parents have no say-so. The parents cannot say anything about it.
The parents are the legal guardians.
It doesn't matter. At 15 years old,
that
your
proves to
child
you
could walk into a clinic and get a full sex change, and there's nothing you can do about it as a parent.
And that's where it's so obvious that the government thinks that they are the guardians of the kids.
Right.
I mean, we sign paperwork as the legal guardian unless it's something that the government wants.
Right.
Then it doesn't matter.
If the kid gets in trouble,
oh yeah,
then you're the legal guardian.
Right.
But if
Truancy.
Right.
We're responsible.
Right.
We can go to freaking jail almost.
Or if the kid keeps running away. If the kid keeps running away, you're responsible for that also.
Yeah.
You know, and financially.
But we're not responsible.
You know.
Yeah.
You're
We're
responsible.
not responsible.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, guys, but we have been all over the place today. But for a reason, we really would like your comments to find out what you're interested in, what topics are churning in your head, and what your opinions are. But for now, I think that's a quite interesting conversation for this week. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I am Amy Alexander.
I'm Mike Sewell.
Please like, subscribe, share, and comment.
No doubt.